So coming up right now is Daryl Morrow. Good morning, Daryl.
Good morning, Bill, and good morning all other gardeners this morning. I hope you're up and about, ready for a big day in the garden.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a beautiful day today. Top of 14, but a bit cloudy, but no rain around, so that's the good part about it. And winter's nearly past, so what do we do?
Well, it's not. We've still got a few weeks to go, really, of winter, and it's a good time now. It's the time of the year when we should be pruning our fruit trees, as well as roses as well. But this is what we should be doing.
And what sort of fruit trees are we looking at today?
Well, today I thought I'd concentrate on apricot tree. They're a popular homegrown fruit tree, and a lot of people don't know how to look after them and get the best crop off them.
And how, if you plant an apricot tree today, how long will it be before it starts to bear fruit?
So there's various types of apricot trees, but generally it's 3 to 4 years of age before they will produce fruit, or you shouldn't let them produce any fruit.
Is that?
Put it that way. Sometimes they'll try.
Yeah.
But
So
you should take them off.
So you take the buds off.
Yes, remove the fruit.
Yep. Right. And during that period of time, that 3 to 4 years, do you prune them back as well?
You do. You prune them back when you first buy them. You'll find that you should prune them back straight away. Then.
Oh, right. As you're planting them.
They start to shape while they're dormant. No leaves on the limbs and so forth. But start to shape the tree, keeping the centre open like a vase or a bowl, so that light and rain and so forth can get into the centre of the tree on the limbs. So it's important when there's fruit on there that the sun is able to get in there and dry out any moisture amongst the young apricots.
Right. So you make sure that it's a bit like pruning roses, isn't it?
It is. Only it's not as awkward. You don't get pricked as much.
and you can stand up doing it.
Well, that's right. Well, you can. And that's one of the things that I wanted to highlight here, that you keep the fruit trees at a level that you can actually pick the fruit without getting onto, well, people like to get on a chair or a box. Some get onto step ladders and things like that. But many people fall doing this sort of work and end up either bruising themselves or breaking a limb. So avoid that. So keep the tree down to a level where you can pick the fruit at arm's length. And also,
if you prune the tree to be able to pick, it's easier to net for the birds and also for this pesky thing called fruit fly.
That's right, yes. A special netting for fruit fly. So it's much closer netting to stop the fruit fly from getting through the net into the fruit.
Yeah, and it's by trimming it back so you can reach it by hand. It makes the whole lot of harvesting, netting, and management of the tree easier. It does,
Bill. That's right.
Now, how do you prune?
Well, this is the big mystery of the tree. I'd suggest that anyone starting out doing this should only prune a half or 2/3 of the tree and leave the other part of the tree alone, so that you can go back and you can have a look at what you did the previous year and assess what was the best thing to do, whether you were doing the right thing or not. Otherwise, if you over prune, you won't get any fruit at all. But by leaving a third or a half of the tree untouched, you will get some fruit that way. Now, what happens with the limbs? You find that the fruit grows on 2 to 3 year new growth on the limbs itself, and you can tell the difference. People say, well, how would I know what age the limb is. Well, if you look down from the point of the limb and look down, you'll see different colours in the bark. You may even see a small band of growth around the limb that determines the start and finish of a year's growth. So you can do that and prune back so that you've got the second or third year growth with the buds on it. So just clip that off at the end, taking note of where the buds are on the limb. The fruit-producing buds will look a bit more swollen than the other buds.
Mm-hmm.
You've got two types. You've got buds that produce the leaves, and you've got buds that produce the fruit. And sometimes a few leaves are produced amongst the fruit as well. But you just be careful of that. Look at the limb what you're leaving. Make sure you're leaving about 3 to 4 of those fruit-bearing buds on the limb.
Right.
When you cut the end of the limb off, the discard part of the limb, make sure you cut it with a sharp secateurs, and always leave a bud facing outwards, not to the centre of the tree. And
when you're pruning like that, do you need to clean your cutters?
Tools.
Yeah.
Tools. Yes. I use methylated spirits. You'll find methylated spirits got a lot of alcohol in it, so you can have a wet rag with you, a little bottle of that with you, and it doesn't hurt to do it every cut that you do.
Uh-huh.
As long as you do it every few cuts, you'll be okay. And of course, if you've got more than one tree, it's very important to make sure you clean the tools before you move on to the next tree.
So you don't take any contamination with it.
That's right. Now, when you prune the trees, make sure all of the limbs that you cut off and that you discard, they put it into a waste bin. Let the council take away that, and they'll make green waste out of that because they heat it up and kills anything that's on them. But if you put it into your own compost bin, you're only producing and harvesting and growing more problems around your own garden. So just discard those things completely.
I'll be talking with a wine grower later on this morning, and he's going through the pruning stage, and he was saying that they prune to make sure that the fruit that they get is good quality, and you do the same with your fruit trees, don't you?
Well, you do. That's right. When you find that the fruit is actually growing on the tree, you have a good look at it, and don't think, oh, I'm going to get a great harvest here. Thin them out so that fewer fruit will give you better quality fruit. If you put them, let them grow really thick, which they will do, you'll find that they stay moist amongst the fruit, and that generally get disease and things and rot in amongst your fruit, and you'll find fruits dying and falling off.
Yeah.
And you'll be quite disappointed. So less fruit, better quality.
So even if you're starting to get bunches forming, pick a couple of the flowers off, and that helps thin out too, doesn't it?
Well, I've never really done that. I've let the fruit grow because you've got to wait for it to get fertilised, Bill.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of now. We're talking about coming into early spring. That's when we get the strong winds,
Yep. Like we had the other day.
That's right. Well, that picks up the blossom, and fertiliser takes all that out across the other trees. And so it's important that you leave the fruit buds on. Pick them off after they've set.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Not at flower stage.
Yeah. And what about care of the tree itself after you've done the pruning?
Well, it's a good idea to go around the tree and just rough up the ground a bit, not too deep, otherwise you get into the root system and you don't want to damage the roots because that'll create disease and other problems as well. But if you just rough up the ground a bit and put some slow release fertiliser around in a circle, not against the trunk, round in a circle. Generally, tree root systems are out as far as the limb width of a tree.
Yep.
So you can put it down a couple of feet away from the trunk of the tree, depending on the age, of course.
You mentioned using slow-release fertiliser. What about use of liquid fertiliser? Not as good?
Well, that's later on when the fruit's growing. You could use it then because it's more readily available in a shorter period of time. But by putting a slow-release fertiliser on, it'll last a long time. And then when you go around the tree, put some mulch around. And again, don't put it up against the trunk of the fruit tree. Keep it out, 10 inches or say 30 centimetres away from the trunk.
Right.
That's again is where you create moisture and you get diseases growing from there.
Can you use compost as that mulch?
You can, yes, you can do that as well. That's fine.
And that helps with getting nutrient back into the soil as well, does it?
It does. That's true. And I'd put a bit of mulch on top of that again.
Ah, right.
Find a compost it'll look fantastic in that, but it'll dry out very quickly, and it needs to be kept moist as well to be of some benefit to the garden.
Right. All right. Well, look, we'll have a quick break, and we'll come back after this, and you tell us about the rainfall.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Alison Hill. My mum was diagnosed with dementia after I had my baby. I really needed her support, but she was becoming more withdrawn and detached. I wish we'd understood what was happening sooner. Asking for help and getting the right advice can help you cope better and improve the quality of life for your loved one. A good place to start is the National Dementia Helpline. Call them during business hours for a free dementia pack. 1800 100 500. That's 1-800-100-500.
Your local station. Your local station. Your locomotion station. Your station with the location.
That's us. 88.6 Plenty Valley FM.
You're listening to Valley Lifestyles on your local station, 88.6 Plenty Valley FM.
And you're listening to Valley Lifestyles with Bill McGillivray, and on the line I have Daryl Morrow with Talking Gardening. And how's the rain been in July, Daryl?
Well, in July, very disappointing actually. Although it is an advantage to the gardeners, it's 18 millimetres of rain for July. We have an average of 50 millimetres around Melbourne in July. But this created more sunshine, and we've had very calm winds as well. And this all means we can get an earlier start in the veggie garden. You'll find that the soil is still quite damp down deep. I've found that. If you tilled it earlier in the winter time, will have retained the moisture. And I'm finding that I'm turning it over again now because it doesn't stick to the spade. If dirt sticks to your spade, it's too wet to till. So if it comes away from the spade, it's okay to turn it over. I've added mulch before winter, and that's rotting down now. So turning it over puts that mulch back into the bottom of the soil a bit in the trenches, makes it much better. I've experienced my knowledge, a couple of people that speak to me on Facebook about cabbages and cauliflowers and broccolis this year. And there's quite a number of them have grown cabbages and all the brassicas up to 30 centimetres across. That's like 1 foot old ruler. And I've done the same here from 27 to 30.
Wow.
It's in Eltham. And they're quite big and they're good quality, very good eating as well. One friend I've got up in Morrow has picked one the other day which was 30 centimetres across, which was a broccoli, and put it on and put a picture up. It looked beautiful too.
All right, so Flo would be making some good cauliflower soup.
That's right, yes. Yeah, keeps the cook happy and busy. That's what you should always do as a good husband.
What if the boot was on the other foot, if the wife was a good gardener and the husband was a good wife?
Well, you have to do a bit of cross dressing there.
And so 30 centimetres. That's
Sorry?
big. That's big, isn't it? 30 centimetres.
Is it big?
Yeah, it's big. It's really a good sized collie.
Oh, yes, it is. It is. I've never really experienced growing them that big, but maybe it's over the years they had compost into the ground. But it seems to be right across Victoria, from what I can gather.
And what sort of mulch do you put in before winter?
I just put in pea straw.
Just ordinary pea straw. Yep.
Yeah, pea straw, which is really hard to get, but I get them from a chap out at Panton Hill.
Yeah.
He brings them in there, you get in bale lots out there, and I bought 10 bales and spread that out across the ground. Now, the good thing about it, if you leave it in what you call biscuits, so square bale type pea straw, you can put it side by side like that, and it will reduce the amount of weeds that you get growing out of the garden beds as well.
Right, because it blankets it.
Down and bringing the worms back in.
Yeah, great. All right, and you'll be back with me same time next month on the first Sunday of the month. So thank you very much for coming on today, Daryl, and we look forward to getting a bumper crop in all your veggies coming up throughout the spring.
Can I just say one other thing?
Sure.
I'd like to encourage all the people that are gardening to get their children out there into the garden with them. Give them a couple of plants and so that they're their plants and let them look after them, get the enjoyment of growing vegetables and fruit and so forth. It's so important, and it's getting more and more important that we have home garden producers in around Melbourne. It's very, very important. So I'd encourage you to get your kids out there. They won't stay with you all the time, that's for sure, but what they see, they will learn, and that'll stay with them for the rest of their life.
And that's what my grandmother and grandfather used to do, is used to talk to us about the fruit and the veggies in the backyard and what they were doing with it when we used to see them 3 or 4 times a year. That's great.
Yeah, that happened with me as well, so it's a valuable lesson.
Exactly, mate.
Don't chase your kids out of the garden.
Don't chase your kids out of home. All right, mate. Have a good day, and enjoy the food, enjoy the fruit, and enjoy your gardening. And thanks very much for coming on again today, Daryl.
No, my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, bye for now. All right, we're just talking there with Daryl Morrow from a local gardener, and giving us hints and tips on apricot trees and veggies.